Hello, everybody. Today, I want to talk about psychomagic in the spirit of Alejandro Jodorowsky. And I just recently started reading his book. I want to explain a little bit what this consists of. So, well, he actually says in one of these parts right now that I started reading, where he says his dad actually has always done psychomagic because he believed that if he had a lot of, he was a business owner, and if he had a lot of material to sell, then he would sell more because people would see that he had a lot to sell, so he would sell more, right? So this type of idea, like that we have a lot of in our heads, like these beliefs of if this then that, is they are psychomagic ideas because it's like the prophecy of the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If you think something will happen, but not in the sense of like, oh, then I think I will have $1 million, so where's my $1 million? No, like these are more of like deep rooted, even unconscious beliefs, right? That you have, that when you have these beliefs, these subconscious or unconscious beliefs, they become your reality. They manifest into the real world, right? So what psychomagic does is that when you have a problem or something like I don't know, something that you want to change, right? Excuse me. Then what you need to do is apply the psychomagic, right? In this case, Jodorowsky talked about how he would do poetic acts, right? Because I guess in Chile during the 50s, it was really, he's Chilean, so during the 50s, there were a lot of poets, or there were like major, like Chile had major poetic influence. And what he would do is he would do poetic acts, right? Like just random ass things that you could think of, like walking in a straight line for as long as you can. So you would have to go over cars, into houses, out of houses, right? Over trees, climb trees to keep walking that straight line. So these acts, what they do is they represent subconscious or unconscious manifestations, right? So what you need to do is, like, if you want something to happen, you have to tap into your belief. What is the belief that you have regarding that situation or that problem or that issue? And then symbolically, right, like kind of like cathartically, symbolically, you do like a ritual, right? And that's the psychomagic. You do this act where you're basically telling yourself, you're showing yourself, like, look, I've already done this. I've already like either paid my karma, or I've done what's necessary in order for this problem or this situation to be solved, right? And and then if you go beyond that, you can really think about how all of this is like, your life just in general, like the beliefs you have, what you think the world is like, at the end of the day, they're your beliefs. It's not that the world is really like that. It's just that's what you think the world is like, right? And by you thinking that's what the world is like, you actually make the world like that, right? So, all of this, I'm gonna connect it with this thing that I'm currently living. It's January 2024, and honestly, there's not a lot of work for me so far. Usually I start the year out aggressive. This starting year, I mean, it's almost mid-January. It's January 12th, and so far I feel like it's going slow, right? I feel like people are just barely getting into the rhythm of things. I feel like this year is starting out slow. There's a lot of news of disasters, right? Like my previous video, I talked about what's happening in Ecuador and shit like that. The whole situation right now with Yemen and stuff, like people just talking about apocalypse and World War III and all this shit. And I just feel like in general, things are going kind of slow. So right now I'm going to be looking into new avenues or new venues or new pathways for me to maybe do things that I want to do, right? And maybe where I could even put this psychomagic into work, where I say, okay, what I used to have, what I had last year, parts of what I had last year, I think I'm no longer going to have them, but they were actually some things that were kind of I mean, you do things that you like, and then you do things that you have to do, right? Like to get money. So they were more on that side of things that I had to do to get money. And right now I'm kind of happy that those things, like I feel liberated, right? Like I can now focus on other things. So now I have time to do other things, and I'm gonna fill them in with these type of psychomagic acts where basically I'm gonna be. It's kind of like, what you think you manifested, but you actually have to believe it. You actually have to live it. You actually have to do acts, poetic acts that represent those things. And then he starts off his book with just this like great example, which I think everybody knows about this, where the gym teacher thinks that this student is lazy. So from the beginning he thinks that, and as time passes or as time goes by, the student becomes lazy. And then he thinks this other student's like really athletic, he's really good at sports, and as time goes by he becomes really well, he excels at sports, right? So it's this credo of like, treat people the way you want them to be, not the way they are, right? That's the poetic meaning, right? The poet, like he says in his book, is not the person. The poet doesn't describe the world as it is. The poet describes the world as it should be, right? As it should, like it's gonna, like he wants the world to be different, right? And how different? Well, that's where you come in, right? That's where you're a creator. That's where you're, like one of the Chilean poets said, you're like a mini god, right? Where you're basically creating, and I mean all in the good sense, of the word, white magic. We're not talking about you going out and hexing people or wishing people ill, or like bad things, like so you tap into this potential that you have. It's a little bit spiritual. I've been reading a lot about Carl Jung recently too. I'm a big fan of all of those topics, the unconscious, the collective unconscious, Carl Jung. There's a video that I'm working on where I describe in Spanish the characteristics of the subconscious. Well, it's actually the unconscious, but I'm going to be coming out with that later on. But yeah, basically you have this potential where if you take notice of it, you're able to truly change things in your life, right? Like I know it sounds kind of cliche, but you can live the life you want to live, right? And that starts first by accepting your life and being grateful for the things you have, and then just modifying little parts here and there, right? Like I mentioned, where these parts, right, that I wasn't really into last year, right now, due to external circumstances, they're out of my hands and I no longer fuck with them. So that's kind of how life just kind of sets you up like that, and then you just have to fill in those gaps, right? Be creative and know that you have that poetic act that you can manifest, right, to out into the world, for it to become real and to become your reality. So that's all I got for this video. I hoped what I said resonated with you, and yeah, hit like, subscribe, comment if you have any thoughts on this, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.